The Roaming Hillbilly started down the path of hillbilly music a decade ago with high-energy San Francisco Peninsula-based Americana Bluegrass. After teaming up with the Edgewood Mountain Boys, Hillbilly, as his friends like to call him, quickly discovered his new passion that included roaming through the crowd playing music while the band performed on stage. The rest, as they say, is history. His current mission in life is as a solo musical entertainer to energize folks while sharing his boot-stompin' hillbilly music. Whether he's greeting folks with music as they first arrive at an event or keeping folks entertained as they stand in concession lines, there's always an opportunity to create smiles, do a little hillbilly dance, or take a selfie. Kick back for a minute and enjoy the Roaming Hillbilly passing through our podcast. Welcome to the Cowboy Up Podcast. This is where talk is all about the West, the spirit of the West, and especially the people and the personalities that make up the West. This is brought to you by White Stallion Ranch and Cowboy Spirit Radio Productions. Russell, I got a treat for you today, buddy.
Yeah, well, I love to hear that.
We have got a big personality and someone who's going to be making an appearance in Tucson in the next couple of weeks. I'm just pretty pumped about having this guy on. I don't even know his first name. This is the best part. I do not know his first name. He is called the Roaming Hillbilly. Are you with us, Hillbilly?
I am, and Steve just called me Hillbilly is just fine, but my first name is Raz, R-A-Z-Z, but Hillbilly suits me just fine. I appreciate it.
I like Hillbilly. I won't lie. I like that.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Well, and of course, you're going to be here at the 100th anniversary the Tucson Rodeo.
Yes, sir. I'm very excited, and Russell, nice to meet you, and thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm fixing to pack up the Hillbilly truck camper, which is how I get around all these rodeos, and I'm headed east and headed to your guys' town to be there for the 15th and 16th weekend and the following weekend. All 6 days I'll be there hooting and hollering at the 100th annual. So excited to be there.
I'm excited to meet you. I'm definitely going to be there on the 15th, so I'm going to have an opportunity to meet you, and I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. Yeah, and the deal is, you can't miss me because what I do at all these rodeos, so I go around and play guitar music at about 25 rodeos a year, and I just roam around hooting and hollering. So when you walk up to the main gate there at the Tucson Rodeo, you will see me out front, hooting and hollering and just welcoming you to the rodeo, Steve. So can't miss me. I'll look for you. You look for me, and we'll say hello and sing a song and whatnot.
Well, if you're hooting and hollering at the Tucson Rodeo, how in the world is anybody going to identify who you are?
Well, I'll tell you, I am pretty hard to miss. Hashtag I am a spectacle. You'll see me wear my hillbilly overalls, and I'll have my guitar and my nice red, white, and blue shirt on. And I reckon to say I will be the only hillbilly walking around singing songs with a guitar. I can guarantee you that.
So you will be identifiable.
Oh, I'm easily identifiable.
Well, I went on your website or wherever I went, and hashtag I'm a spectacle is probably right. I mean, that's a pretty. They'll know they've seen you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm all over the I call them the hillbilly socials. Instagram, you could find the Roaming Hillbilly. Just Google it, and you'll find tons of stuff on me to see what I look like. But yeah, I mean, granted, everybody's going to be wearing a cowboy hat, but there's very few people that wear overalls and a cowboy hat at the rodeo, and then you add the guitar on top of it, and I'm pretty hard to miss.
Okay, so before we get started, who is the Roaming Hillbilly?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I am I'm a traveling professional musical entertainer. And I am a online content creator, and personality. So I kind of do both those things full time. And when I say musical entertainer, like I've been describing, it's just me and my acoustic guitar. So I'm not a guy in the band behind a mic on the stage. I just basically, like I said, when you come to the rodeo, I'm out front that main gate welcoming you to the rodeo. And then while the rodeo is happening all around, in the arena, the cowboys and the cowgirls are doing their thing. When you come out to buy a cool cowboy hat or a T-shirt from all the great merch vendors we'll have there in Tucson, or all the great food we have there in Tucson, I always look forward to that in Tucson. You'll see me. I will come and sing you a song. You'll pass me. I'll pass you. We'll stop. We'll hoot and holler. We'll take a selfie. Lots of people. We take pictures together and put them all over my socials. And then the most fun part for me at all these rodeos is then at the end of the rodeo, as you're leaving the rodeo, having had such a great time, 6 days of rodeo in Tucson, which is extra special. I go back to the main gate, and as everybody's leaving, I sing one more song, and you'll see me. I'll look for you, you look for me, and I'll sing a song of thank you for coming to the rodeo. And so, Steve, that's what I do full time, 25 rodeos a year. I travel all over the West, living in my hillbilly truck camper. And along the way, as I do that, I'm capturing, all my moments. I call them my hillbilly adventures of living life on the road and all the fun I have at the rodeos. And that all makes it to my online social. So, like, for instance, I have a YouTube channel where you can see all of my tour from last year. I was on tour 95 days. 19 rodeos. You can see all my adventures right there on the Hillbilly YouTube channel as well.
So you get to a lot of rodeos, and so we're going to exclude Tucson, which is clearly and obviously the best. Which is the second best rodeo you go to?
Well, and I get that question a lot, and y'all are rodeo folks as well, and each and every rodeo is super special, and it's the rodeo committees that gave me a start 8 years ago, and so everyone is special to me. But I do a lot of rodeos in California. For instance, the Red Bluff Roundup, Redding Rodeo. Those are some of the bigger ones. Last year I was blessed to go to Montana for the first time and entertain at the Livingston Roundup on 4th of July for their 100th annual, as a matter of fact. Then I made it down to Cody, and I was at the Cody Night Rodeo for an unbelievable 9 nights in a row.
Wow.
Which is a lot. Yeah, which is a lot of hooting and hollering, but we had a good time. And that trip in particular, it was in July of last year. I was on the road. It was like milestones for me. I was on the road the most I've ever been on the road, 37 days. I was in 7 different states. And that's a good example of, lots of hillbilly adventures on the YouTube channel you'll see there. So it's all good stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you've been to the Cody Rodeo. I mean, 9 days in a row of rodeo. That's a lot of rodeo.
Sure
probably
is.
not enough for some.
Yeah.
And how did you get started doing this? Because that's, that seems like it's an interesting area that you work in.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a great question. And so I, go back 10, 12 years or so. A buddy of mine who we lived in the same neighborhood. We were raising our kids together, and not together, but we, separately, families in the neighborhood. And we knew each other. We were buddies, and he knew I played guitar and sang a bit, and he did the same. And he had been after me for a while to get together and jam. So finally, after some time, I finally said, all right, well, let's do that. Let's get together and jam. And I said, well, what kind of music do you want to play? And he said, well, how about bluegrass music? And I said, well, to be honest, I hadn't listened to bluegrass music before. I grew up, just as another interesting hillbilly fun fact, I grew up from 4th grade all the way to college the first time out. I played trombone. I was a trombone player as a kid. Then in my 20s, I played, jazz, and I played dance music and was in a rock band. And I did a lot of music in my 20s. And then I decided to raise a family. And I did that for the middle third of my life. And that's where I met Brother Kent, my bluegrass buddy from North Carolina. So he introduced me to bluegrass, right? And I fell in love with it as a music style. I really fell in love with it. And he and I started learning all these bluegrass songs. So again, this is about 10-ish years ago, maybe a little more. And we got good enough at singing that he sang a great harmony. We sang great harmony together. We both picked the guitar, and we got good enough where we could hire, legit pickers, banjo, fiddle, dobro, bass, mandolin, the whole 9 yards, and go out and get gigs. And so we were getting gigs as the Edgewood Mountain Boys, playing bluegrass music. And then in 2016, I got us booked at a little junior rodeo in 4th of July junior rodeo in Woodside, California. And we used to take our kids there for the pig scramble. Not enough pig scramble at rodeos anymore, but this rodeo had that little pig scramble going on. So all our kids grew up with the pig scramble. So I got our band playing there, and I asked the fellow that ran that rodeo, I says, hey, can I just roam around the vendor merch area and concession area and just hoot and holler before and after my band plays? He said, brother, you do whatever you want. And so Steve and Russell, that was my first time rodeoing as the Roaming Hillbilly. And I thought to myself, people really like that, because just me and my acoustic guitar. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna do this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So in 2017, that was 2016, 4th of July, 2017, I went at it hard and tried to get rodeos to bring me in. I was hired at 3 rodeos in 2017. One of the first ones, by the way, being the Cow Palace, the Grand National Rodeo in San Francisco, and bless Lori Marshall, the CEO there at the time, for giving me a shot. So in 2017, 3 rodeos. 2018, 14 rodeos. 2019, 19 rodeos. 2020 was a bust, of course. And then I haven't looked back since. So 25 rodeos now, and I'm going on my 9th year when I kick it off with you all down there in Tucson. So that's how I got started. Yeah.
With 2020 being a bust, and even the Cheyenne Frontier Days didn't run.
Yep.
What'd you do? I mean, and when did it? So what did you do during that time? And B, when did it free back up for you?
Yeah, so that's a great question too, because I mentioned, I do 2 things with my life. I'm a traveling musical entertainer, and I'm an online content creator. And so when 2020 hit, I've got, 10,000 followers on Instagram, and it's continuing to grow all the time. And it's always been part of my creativity to share my hillbilly adventures, online. And so I was like, what am I going to do? Because by the way, to that point, I really hadn't started roaming across the country. I was mostly in California rodeos. And all my content came from the rodeos. If you look at my socials, you'll see all the fun I have at all these rodeos with all the people. We take selfies, and a lot of people take pictures and send them to me, and that all makes it on my page as well. And so long story short is I went out and I sought out and I hired a video producer. And I produced my very first YouTube series in 2020. And we called it Rodeo on Runnymede. And we called it Rodeo on Runnymede because Runnymede was this little country road where, as I was transforming into becoming the Roaming Hillbilly, I used to go by myself out to that little country road and hoot and holler and sing songs and learn songs and kind of practice my act, all by myself out there in the glory of the countryside and the sunshine and the blue sky. And so this video producer I hired, we came in and we did a little 16 series episode. And so throughout the course of 2020, I was airing a weekly episode for 16 weeks. And then the cool thing is the last episode was I mentioned the Grand National Rodeo and got the Cow Palace being one of the original rodeos that first hired me in 2017. They did a virtual rodeo, and they asked me if I wanted it in 2020. They asked me if I wanted to contribute some content to that, and I said, absolutely. I already got my video producer. He's already doing work for me. I said, will you let me into the iconic Cow Palace for a day to do a video shoot? And they said, heck yeah. So we got to go into the Cow Palace, and I know rodeo people here, they know all about the Cow Palace in its heyday years back. And I get to do a whole video shoot there, and it's basically ended up being the season finale for my Rodeo on Running meet, and it was a behind the scenes tour of the Cow Palace, compliments of me, the Roaming Hillbilly, and so that's what I did in 2020.
That's perfect. And when did free back up for you? When did?
Yeah. So we started back in 2021. I remember, James Miller, who was the GM at the Red Bluff Roundup, God bless him. They decided to run Red Bluff in April of 2021. And in California at that time, everything pretty much was still shut down. Rodeos before that were having a hard time, meeting all the county health requirements and whatnot. And I always remember James went online. He said, "Hey, listen, we're going to run the rodeo, and we're going to have safety measures, but we figure, it's up to you to decide if you want to come or not." And that rodeo in April 2021, the Red Bluff Roundup, it was the largest public gathering of any size in California since the whole lockdown started. So again, God bless rodeo, hashtag, and one of my favorite is Rodeo Matters. We brought people back together in the state of California, the largest public gathering in April 2021. So that was a real treat to be a part of that.
Well, on that, we're going to take a quick break.
Recently, we attended the 2025 Dude Ranch Convention in Phoenix, Arizona. The trade show area had lots of sales booths, and the busiest booth by far was hosted by Durango Boots. Lots of Dude Ranch owners were talking with the reps from Durango, and most of them already own Durango boots. They love the comfort, style, longevity, and the ability to go from horseback to a nice restaurant and look good in both places. For over half a century, Durango has been building the world's best, most lightweight, and authentic traditional Western boots. Dude Ranchers know whether working, riding, or roping, Durango boots are made for what you do and what they do. Durango rides for the brand, and they are unapologetically proud of who they are and the boots they build. They honor the cowboy way and proudly live true Western values. This is Durango country. Visit DurangoBoots.com. And we are back with the Roaming Hillbilly. Okay, Hillbilly, one of the things that really caught my eye, and you've got it on your content on different places. You travel in what you call the hillbilly camper.
Right.
That's pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool. Tell us about that. How do you do that?
Okay, so that's great. Yeah, the hillbilly camper. So first couple of years of doing rodeo, I was living in the back of my old SUV kind of vehicle, and I was happy with that. But as I decided to roam farther away, and oh, by the way, do it full time. When I started doing it, the Roaming Hillbilly full time, really 2021. I figured I need to, have a little bit better digs. And so I went out and I got me a truck camper by a company called 4-Wheel Pop-Up Campers. So it sits on the back of my 8-foot bed Ram truck, and it sits low profile until I use it, and then it pops up 2 feet. So it's got everything I need in it. And, I appreciate you asking about it because it's, I slow roll all my travel. And what I mean by that is unlike cowboys who are racing to get to the next rodeo so they can, make some more money, I do the opposite. I don't travel more than 4 or 5 hours, and I really enjoy, living in my hillbilly camp. But it's all about traveling the roads of America and taking it all in as I go. And so, for instance, as I make my way to be in Tucson, I'll have 2 campsite stops before I actually make it to Tucson. When I did the Montana, Wyoming rodeos, as I mentioned, I was on the road 37 days. And I camped I probably camped at darn near 10 different places, other than just the rodeo grounds. So I normally will live on the rodeo grounds in the hillbilly camper, when I'm there. And it's just a self-contained camper like any other camper, you'd imagine. But the unique thing about it, I think, is that it's one of these pop-up campers. So it's low profile, and it's easy to get around in, and, I don't have to pull a trailer or anything like that. So I really love it a lot. And in fact, I mentioned affordable pop-up campers because, God bless them, a couple years back, they actually sponsored my whole tour, which I thought was very nice of them.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume part of the motivation of having a pop-up as opposed to just being the full profile makes it better for mileage? Does it lower the wind resistance by lowering the profile?
Yeah, it does do that. But to be honest with you, the main reason I went that route was I didn't want to take it on and off.
Yeah.
I keep it on year round. And it's a lightweight camper. They build these campers for four-wheel. It's called four-wheel pop-up camper. They're designed for going off the grid, which I don't do a lot of, but they're lightweight, and that's kind of the niche that this manufacturer plays. And so I got it because they just keep it on the truck year round, basically. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Now, by having that, how many days a year can you travel, or do you travel?
Yep. So I start the tour the last 3 years. I've started it there, with y'all in Tucson, and so it's Tucson in February, and I go 9 months, and I'm rodeoing, darn near every month, at least once, but usually 3 or 4 times, to get to that, 20, 25 rodeos, in the tour. Last year, I was on the road 95 days, and of those 95 days, I lived in the Hillbilly camper 65. So sometimes, like when I come down to Tucson, this is why I love rodeo so much in the community of rodeo, is that I will stay with friends either that I know that live in the area, or in some cases people that I've met who are willing to put me up, and I get to go visit people in all of these different rodeo communities, or to rodeo towns, basically. And y'all being rodeo folks, that's another part of the special thing about these annual rodeos is they're, the volunteers, the community, they're all good people, and they all become. I have family everywhere I go in the rodeo committees, and so I get to meet them and visit them and hang out with them. And I hope to come to the White Stallion Ranch in between Tucson rodeo weekends. So, Russ, I'll have to talk to you about that offline. I got a day available, and I'd love to just pop over there so somebody be right in your neighborhood.
Yeah, no, that sounds it's perfect. We're here all the time.
Yeah.
So,
I bet.
We talked to Stephen and I talked to quite a few people involved in rodeo in one capacity or another. And, I certainly did 2 talks yesterday about history of ranching and rodeo and sort of how ranching, in a way, gave birth to rodeo and is sort of a natural progression. What, in today's world of sports and sports being what it is, what do you think sets rodeo apart? I mean, you're embedded in it. You're part of that culture now. What do you think makes it different from other sports?
Yeah, I was gonna say, or what I feel, and so understanding that I'm with the people, I'm with the masses. As from a rodeo entertainer perspective, I mean, God bless all our rodeo clowns and J.J. Harrison and all those guys and our announcers and all the folks that work in the arena. But I work outside of the arena with the people face to face. And so, I got to say it's the community that makes up rodeo. That, I tell a story about, all these great folks I get to meet. I've been doing it long enough now, you guys, where I mean, compared to y'all, it's not nothing, but, for me, 8 years is anyway. Young people that I've met when I first started, 20-somethings, they follow me. I follow them because we met at the rodeo. I've watched them get married, get a house. I've watched them have babies now, and there's dozens of people that I've met and follow me, and I still follow them. And we all met and they go to the rodeo every year. I mean, it's all because of the rodeo, you know, that the special. So I would say the short answer is it's the community, you know, and that's what I think sets it apart from other sports. You know, certainly you go to baseball or football, and there's a certain amount of community, but not the way rodeo is. Because look, rodeo, how do we start every rodeo? We start the rodeo by all standing up and giving thanks to our service people. That builds community. We say, you know, we do the national anthem. A lot of rodeos are back to doing a prayer. We do a prayer and we do the Pledge of Allegiance. All that is community building, and I think that's what sets rodeo apart as a sport from other sports.
Well, I think that's, you know, I think it's authenticity and the fact that, you know, and I say it all the time, you know, the competitors, they're chasing the money desperately, but not because they think they're going to get rich, but because they want to get to the next rodeo. So
exactly.
Stories, you got to have some good ones.
Oh, I would think.
Yeah. Well, it's you know, it's all about the people. Like I said, I mentioned the you know, the young couples, and I give a couple more, you know, examples of that where I had a 14-year-old, or I had a young man. He's actually 18 years old. I think we were at the Redding Rodeo in California, and he said to me, he says, you know, I've been coming to the Redding Rodeo since my grandma first brought me 4 years ago when I was 14. And he goes, and I see, you know, I see you every year at the rodeo, and I just wanted to thank you for being a part of my rodeo experience. And again, when I talk about, you know, the community and the people is what I think makes rodeo so special. That's, you know, one of many, many examples of, you know, it's just good people at the rodeo. And for me, it's just to be able to be a part of, you know, the rodeo experience of a lot of folks. As I continue to do that, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can understand that. Okay. So you're starting your tour this year at the Tucson Rodeo.
Correct.
Okay.
My ninth
and you're going to be here for, well, almost 9 days, right?
Yeah, I get to town on the 14th, the day before.
Okay.
And then I'm there through the 23rd. You know, we've got that break. We got, you know, 2-day break between the rodeo weekends. So, like, you know, Monday would be a great day for me to come out to the ranch, just because I usually go camp. Like this year, I plan to go camp at the Karchner Caverns.
Oh, yeah.
Campsite.
Yeah.
I have you know, and that's what I try to do. You know, when I'm at Tucson, I stayed at Patagonia Lake last year. I stayed at Pikachu Peak. So I try to find these cool places to go hang out and take in while I'm, you know.
There's a few. It's a pretty interesting place.
I love it.
I love it. And Karchner Caverns, of course, is considered one of maybe the best live cave, meaning the water's still dripping in the world. It's, you know, and the whole story behind it's amazing too. So
yeah, that's cool.
So when, you know, I'm confident that people listening to this, and we're going to make sure it gets out before the rodeo, are going to have heard this, and they're going to be looking for you, and you're pretty identifiable. But where are you going to be? Where should they be looking for their selfie?
Yeah, for their selfie. Oh, and by the way, I always have, one of the fun things I do is I always have giveaways that I hand out for free. So like what's very, very popular is the Hillbilly Beer Fridge Magnet. So when you come find me at the rodeo, you know, I'll give you one of these. And I also have Hillbilly stickers now. So not just a selfie, not just we get to sing songs, but I'm going to actually give you something to take home, which is kind of fun.
Cool.
But yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, all around the rodeo grounds, you know, and it because I'm moving and, you know, everybody else is moving, you just got to kind of look for me. But from where they sell all of the merchandise, I know a lot of the merch people just because I see them every year, and so a lot of times I'm by their booths.
Down below the stands, stands, or out in the back.
Both.
Okay.
Because basically what I do is I just make, I think I usually do the loop clockwise.
Uh-huh.
And I go I go all rodeo long. So, while the rodeo's going on, I mean, I take a break every hour and a half, but I'm, 4 or 5 hours, I'm out there doing that loop.
So if they go counterclockwise, they're going to run into you somewhere. Unless you duplicate each other's speed.
Yeah. But, listen, if all your listeners out there, if you, go on the Hillbilly Instagram page or the YouTube channel and you're like, I got to meet this guy, I got to make sure I meet him, just, message me on Instagram or whatever. We'll just meet up and we'll meet, whatever. And I'm, whether the youngest of young or the oldest of old, we all have a good time together, and I'm happy to hang out and meet folks, certainly that want to do that with me. I'll make a point to find you and meet you, and we'll take a selfie and share a moment together. I'd love to do that.
Well, and our Cowboy Up listeners, they like to follow up and read the books or go to the places. Or we had one listener, she took a summer vacation and went to as many places as we talked about in southern Arizona and New Mexico as she could. So it's awesome. It works that way. So I'm not a social media guy. Everybody's heard that over and over, so I'm ignorant. How do they find you on Instagram?
Yeah, so it's you'll have my name, the Roaming Hillbilly, in the podcast there, and all they have to do is go to Instagram and look for that name.
Be sure to use then Roaming Hillbilly. Okay.
Hillbilly, yeah, but even easier than that, everybody knows how to do a Google search. If you could Google search the Roaming Hillbilly, and some people are on Facebook. My Facebook page comes up when you do that. My Instagram comes up.
Perfect.
All of the if you want a deeper dive into the Roaming Hillbilly, the best place to go check me out is on YouTube. And again, if you're on YouTube, you just in the search bar just put in the Roaming Hillbilly, and like I mentioned earlier in our talk here, you can see every day from my tour last year and actually the year before, plus the 2020 rodeo and running meet and the Cow Palace tour and all that. That's all over on YouTube.
Well, and I've been on your YouTube channel, and it is very good. It really is. I
appreciate that. Thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate that.
All right. Well,
I got nothing else. I love it. I'm just looking forward to meeting him. That's all.
Yeah. Stephen will be the roaming podcaster.
Yes. Should. Good idea. Yeah. That's a great idea, Russell. I like that. Go on location.
Go on location. All right. Well, thank you. I look forward to talking to you. Just we can follow up on email or whatever and get you out here, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the 100th. I mean, anybody in Tucson likes rodeo or even thinks they might like rodeo. They really ought to be down there. And most of those days will sell out, so now's the time to buy those tickets.
Exactly.
And because we're only going to be around for one of these kind of anniversaries. So
that's right.
100th anniversary of Tucson Rodeo, one of the 10 or 15 biggest, best rodeos in the country.
Exactly. Thank you, Hillbilly. We appreciate your time, buddy. Look forward to meeting you.
Thank you as well. Likewise. Appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen cowboys and cowboy hillbillies, all together on one show. How about that? My name is Stan. I'm the radio man. It's my privilege and my pleasure to bring this program to you as a part of the Cowboy Spirit Radio Network. And perhaps you're thinking, hey, this is the year. I'm going to thrive in 25. My business, my work, my story needs telling. And I'm going to think about maybe doing a podcast just like Stephen and Russell do. Well, that's what I do as part of What It Takes Radio. We will help you do what it takes to be on the radio. Reach out to me at stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. And this is a great time to be in Tucson. The weather is turning really nice. The Tucson Book Festival is March 15th and 16th. That's an incredible, wonderful celebration. This is a good time to see. Perhaps there's still some place for you at the ranch where the whole show takes place. Check out whitestallion.com, whitestallion.com. and see if we can put a place for you at the Cowboy Experience table at the ranch. And if we can't do White Stallion, we have many other good friends in the guest ranch opportunity, the true ranch connection that might find a place for you. And of course, this means that spring baseball is coming to Arizona, and that's always a good thing to do too. So think about it. We'd love to see you here in the great Southwest and to enjoy the hospitality just for you.
You know, Russell, I listened to this to the Hillbilly. This was really a fun podcast with a fun guy who's figured out a niche, and you can do anything you want in America if you just think you can do it. And he thought that, and look what he created. It's pretty unique, and it's pretty wonderful.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's I love my RV, but the pop-up truck camper and that many days, and it's just got to be part of the adventure.
Well,
and
I would guess.
And he goes to the interesting places. He's already scoped them out and living the dream. And rodeos. He talked his word community. I think the culture that surrounds it, I assume, is pretty darn welcoming to a guy that is called the Roaming Hillbilly.
I would think so. This is good.
Thank you, folks, and that's a wrap from the White Stallion Ranch right here in Tucson, Arizona. We appreciate you being with us. Please recommend us to others. Write us a review. Perhaps you want to reach out to us at the Cowboy Up Podcast at gmail.com, the Cowboy Up Podcast at gmail.com. Maybe you have something to tell us. Maybe you'd like to raise your hand and say, hey, I have a story to tell. Perhaps you'd like to audition to be a guest on our program. As you see, we have all kinds of people who we celebrate on the program. So think about that. The Cowboy Up Podcast at gmail.com. Again, we appreciate you, and we want all the best for all of us. That this will be a good year of opportunity. A year in which we will take advantage of all the good things that we've been blessed with, and we are to pass those blessings on to one another. So here we go. Ride tall, think big, and make your mark in the world today. All the best and blessings till next time. Bye for now.